I guess when I see a man, like I was able to see like kind of straight away, like where you guys stood, if that makes sense. Like I saw you guys as more feminine. I think a man, it's more about like dominance, if that makes sense.
Do you think I'm less dominant than you?
Do you think I'm less dominant than you? Do you think I'm less dominant than you?
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
It's like, bro, come on, bro. The guy in a fucking skirt is not more masculine than you. Looking at somebody wearing the clothes that mostly females wear is obviously gonna make you seem less dominant because you are taking the role of feminine.
I know we separate femininity and masculinity, but like I think if you're peak femininity or peak masculinity, you're in tune with both sides of your emotions.
That's practically impossible though. How can you have peak femininity and peak masculinity at the same time? That doesn't make sense. That can never be a simultaneous thing within a person. You are either more masculine than you are feminine if you're a man, and if you're female, you are more feminine than you are masculine, usually and traditionally. These days we have a whole bunch of exceptions because dudes be acting crazy and be acting all types of shit, but traditionally and naturally, that's the way things are.
Honestly, growing up, masculinity was taught to me as pretty much just an absence of emotion. I knew that that was wrong, so I've just been like, masculinity, femininity, it's not even real. We're just taking traits that all humans can have and applying a word to it.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
And that's why you look the way you look, bro. There is a thing as masculinity, and there are traits that make people masculine. There are physical traits and emotional traits that make somebody masculine. There are emotional and physical traits that make somebody feminine. What you just said is a direct response and explanation for why you look the way you look.
So I don't know where I stand. I'd like to just throw myself at the end.
I'll go with you. I don't like the modern version of masculinity, so I wouldn't associate myself with it.
Bro, you are an example of what the modern version of masculinity is supposed to look like. The progressive, changed, modern version of what masculinity is supposed to look like. There is no such thing as modern masculinity has been a thing since the dawn of time, and the modern version of that is what you're wearing right now. The world is trying to change the perspective on masculinity to suit people like you and make you feel manly for wearing literally a dress, basically, which is completely false. Like, this is not what being a man is about. This is not what masculinity entails.
If I had to make a switch, I'd switch you and you. Just vibe, honestly.
Yeah, Brody in the denim jacket has the right idea of what's going on here. Because, bro, like, why would a man, you can do whatever you want, you know, it doesn't affect anybody else in the world. But you know what's affecting me is the fact that you haven't liked the video yet. So please, if you're enjoying my content, hit that like button. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe too for more content like this. I really appreciate it. Back to the video. But why is a grown-ass man wearing a Hello Kitty t-shirt in the first place, first of all, right? And then how is he second in ranking masculinity? So this guy in the denim jacket, he has the right idea. He has the normal idea. Like, what I'm saying is not crazy. It's not something new. This is just normal and what most people probably think when they take a look at these group of individuals.
But where do you feel like you belong? Because you don't have to switch if you don't want to.
I don't know. I actually don't know. I think masculinity, like we said, is one of these topics where it is changing every single day. Like, something new comes out and then it's like, oh, well, it's masculine to do this. It's not masculine to do this. And it's like...
And I think that's part of the problem of something that has always meant one thing for generations at this point. Then all of a sudden people want to start changing something and saying, no, this is not actually like this, it's like that. And that's where it can get confusing, because you are changing something that has always been something else. Then you start to think like this guy and you start thinking, what is the actual definition of masculinity if it's always changing? Or what are the traits of a masculine person if it's always changing? And this is what the modern liberal ideology has done to today's society and how it's affecting today's society, that a grown man with facial hair and taking care of his own balls is questioning what masculinity really is because of how much the media and how much the world, and it's not everyone in the world because everyone still has a mostly traditional perspective, but liberals are deciding, let's just say being masculine means wearing a dress. You can be masculine and wear a dress. Like, no, that's not a thing. That's not part of, you can be masculine and cry all the time or complain all the time and overreact to things all the time. Like, that's not what being a man's about. Being a man has masculine traits like being stoic, being protective of other people, leading, taking charge. Those are just a few of the things that come to mind when you think of masculinity.
I'd say it all kind of boils down to like hormones, if that makes sense, and like testosterone versus estrogen.
Naturally, our testosterone levels are going to drop as we get older. Does that make us less of a man in your eyes then? Because like, okay.
I don't think less of a man. I don't think less masculine either.
Okay, so then should that be a valid argument in terms of masculinity?
That is true. That is factual. This is the first factual statement I've heard. If you have more estrogen in your body, you are likely to have more feminine traits. You are likely to be more feminine. And if you have more testosterone, you're likely to be more manly. This guy saying your testosterone dropping over time, does that make you? No, it doesn't make you less manly. It's not about if it's making you less manly because your testosterone levels are dropping. The question is, what's the ratio? Is the ratio of testosterone more than the estrogen in your body? And I think that's the real point this guy was making, is that if testosterone is more prevalent in your body and overtakes the hormone levels of estrogen, then you are likely to be more masculine. And we're talking about naturally now, not injecting things into your body. So he has a point, and that's a completely valid point.
I guess when I see a man, like I was able to see like kind of straight away, like where you guys stood, if that makes sense. Like I saw you guys as more feminine. I think a man, it's more about like dominance, if that makes sense.
Do you think I'm less dominant than you?
It's like facial wise. I don't know, I can't explain it.
Facially, I'm less dominant than you.
This guy's giving the most honest answers that if you look at these group of guys and ask most people who is more manly out of this group of guys, they're probably not going with the last two guys on the end, because masculinity doesn't only have emotional traits, but physical traits are also a part of masculinity as well. And he's making very valid points. Looking at somebody wearing the clothes that mostly females wear is obviously going to make you seem less dominant because you are taking the role of feminine. You're taking the role of usually submissive, of being a nurturer. You're taking the female, the woman's role physically. That's literally what you're doing. So in actual fact, most people would think that that guy's more dominant than you if you're wearing a pink jacket and a skirt or whatever he has on. It's not about just basing it off of physical traits. Masculinity has two things that go hand in hand: the physical aspect of it and the emotional and intelligence aspect of it. Those go hand in hand. It's not only how emotional are you, how do you react to situations. It's not only that, it's also physical. They go hand in hand.
I guess my definition of masculinity is more traditional in a sense. I feel like everyone's was maybe like a more newish, like, not that there's anything wrong with that. And I don't think that's necessarily real, if that makes sense, like realistic. I think it's like ingrained in us. Like I can't describe it even. Like when I see someone, you could kind of tell, if that makes sense.
Yeah, his perspective is more based on reality. I mean, there's also an innate physical response to things. Like humans have innate responses to certain things in life. And there are certain things that are like, whoa, that doesn't seem right. Whoa, that seems right. There are these built-in, ingrained things into us where we're like, okay, if a man behaves in this way, that's not how a man is supposed to be behaving. That is how a man's supposed to be behaving. That is the role of a female. That is the role of a male. We have roles to play. We have different roles in society. We have different roles within family. We have different roles within religious aspects as well. So all of these things need to be taken into account. I feel like a lot of these guys are trying not to get canceled. And I mean, you're saying things that are like very obvious and normal, but people are like, I don't know, masculinity is always changing. Yeah, maybe he's more masculine than I am. It's like, bro, come on, bro. The guy in a fucking skirt is not more masculine than you.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
Growing up, it was always like either black or white, where my parents are like, you're masculine, you're super tough, you're super strong, and you're there at the head of the household, you're always that. Or you're like feminine. So that's something that I've always like kind of seen. That's why I was able to see both sides of like where Michael was coming from.
I think that people should do whatever they want to do. You know, I'm not trying to say you should do this, you should do that. I do think that when the definition of something has always been itself and it is being changed to fit some type of modern narrative that just isn't true to itself, that's when things can kind of get dangerous, because with that way of thinking, almost anything that we've known something to be this way can be changed and can be twisted. I mean, I can go into detail on other things that have been changed over the years, like the definition of gender and male being a male and a female being a female. That has changed. There are complete different ideologies now that go against the facts and the research behind who humans are and what roles they were given at birth. So that's kind of where this whole thing is coming from. And yeah, these are just my opinions. I'm not saying that you should believe what I'm saying. I'm just giving my opinion. Freedom of speech and things of that nature.
And things of that nature.
So, but anyways, if you liked the video, please smash that like button for your boy and hit that subscribe button too for more content like this. This is my first time doing one of these types of videos and I would be willing to do more. I need you guys to show me some love. I'm trying to hit 500 subs before the end of March, so I'd really appreciate it. But thanks for watching. I've been Fadlu and peace out.